with 7 courageous, determined people who are standing up for the rights of Indigenous people and for their land, and to say a big no to the repeat of colonization, a government that says that mining and other exploration can happen on Indigenous land without the permission of the First Nations people. They're saying no. They've given up their freedom to say no. And what are we saying with them? No!
They support the efforts of their brothers and sisters and sister communities to pursue development, as long as it's in the hands of the communities to make that determination. But they're opposed to this development. They've said no to this development. So we're here to say to Chief Donny Morris and KI that we support them 100%. We stand with them.
If you're faced with exploration, with mineral exploration as communities in Ontario specifically, but I'd say everywhere else, this seems to be the pattern, not just in Canada, but around the world. As Indigenous peoples, if you're faced with, if you're faced with the issue of mineral exploration, you have 2 choices: get out of the way or go to jail. The bottom line is, we fully support the rights of other Aboriginal communities to do development if that's what you want. But what we're saying and what KI is saying is we should have the right to say, no, we don't want it, right? If we don't want it, we should have the right to say so, and that's the issue, right?
I want to introduce to you Anne-Marie Morris, Donny's wife. Come on up.
Everything right now is just overwhelming to see all the people here, all the support, different nationality. I can just feel the love from all the people here. I want to thank everyone across Canada that has shown their support for Donny and the other KI members from both the First Nation and the non-First Nation communities. Please continue with all your good efforts to keep us in your prayers. God bless you all.
Okay, is this broadcast?
There's about 400 people here, Donny.
Well, I'd like to say hello to everybody. I appreciate all the support you're giving us while we're in jail here in Thunder Bay. We're not, I always say, we're not here for a crime we did not commit. We're here for what we believe in. And I really appreciate for all the support. Really means a lot to us. For the 5 of us here and our female counselor back in Kenora. Hello?
Hello, who's this?
Sam.
Hi, Sam. So you've got 400 people here listening to us, listening to you. What would you like to say?
Get me out of here.
The Mining Act of Ontario says you cannot say no. It is a foregone conclusion and it affects us all. Here's what few people realize. While you may own the surface rights, you do not automatically own the subsurface rights. This enables uranium exploration companies, for example, to go onto your property without your permission because they don't need your permission. They can cut down trees and they can dig holes. It happened to property owners in Eastern Ontario. It happened to the people of KI. It happened to the Ardoch Algonquins, and it can happen to you. And I'm here to tell you today that CPAW's Wildlands League supports the right of an Aboriginal community to say no to mineral exploration and no to mining projects that will impact the health of their communities and the impact of those ecosystems. We support that right.
Ontario wants to send a signal to the mining industry that it's open for, that all Crown land is open for exploration and nothing will get in the way of that. Even without reforming the Mining Act, they could sit down now and negotiate with those communities to remove sensitive lands from staking and exploration. There's nothing in law that prevents them from doing it. They simply don't want to. Mineral prices are at record highs, and they act as if these minerals are going to go stale, as if they're going to expire if they're not immediately removed from the ground. And this is simply greed that's driving this. This is not in the interests of people of Ontario.
I would like to read a quote from Brother Dr. Martin Luther King, who 40 years ago on Friday was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee. We are tied together in a single garment of destiny, caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, and whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. For some strange reason, I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. You can never be what you ought to be until I am what I ought to be. This is the way God's universe is made. This is the way it is structured. The men who spoke to us from jail, behind bars, the ugliness of jail, it is so ugly and noisy and hard. They are in jail because some of us have not been what we ought to be. And so our job is to keep on going and to be what we ought to be and to come to a new relationship, a right and just relationship that is in accord with the treaties, how we should be sharing this land together.
So we know what development can do if it's not controlled development. We know what development can do if it pays no respect to the environment. And we know what development can do if it pays no respect to the people themselves. And this is why, as the chief of my community, and as a Mr. Piasic Cree Nation, on behalf of my people, I stand behind the decision of the KI leadership and Robert Lovelace to stand up for their people and their land.